What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the 5th February episode of Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Keira Hogan calls out Sasha Banks, Cesaro's bad injury, Triple H is called out for a match from a retiree, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, the Edge effect. The WWE made good use of Edge this week, utilizing his Royal Rumble victory to hopefully boost the ratings on NXT and Smackdown as he teased which brand's champion he will challenge at WrestleMania. Perhaps more importantly, they used the Rated R superstars' undeniable star power to give the rub to a number of superstars, even by short interactions such as fist-bumping Sonya Deville or chatting with Shinsuke Nakamura backstage. Edge also put over all 3 champions, McIntyre, Balor, and Reigns, by subtly hinting that they are all worthy opponents and he needs time to choose. Number 2, Bryan vs Cesaro. One thing fans can always count on during Smackdown is that there will be at least one showcase match that features 2 tremendous workers, even if these workers aren't main eventers. Last night's bout between Bryan and Cesaro was a work rate lover's dream, and once again, Daniel Bryan used his main event status to make an opponent look good. It remains to be seen whether Cesaro will get any type of singles push now that he's re-upped with the WWE, but a win over Bryan is a good start. However, we did note a few weeks back, Bryan can't lose too often or wins over him will be meaningless. Number 3, one segment of Roman a week keeps the ratings peak. Okay, we may not be a poet like Leaping Lanny Poffo, but is there any doubt that the WWE has found some ratings gold with Roman Reigns? While Raw's ratings and NXT's have been declining, the Blue Brand's ratings have stabilized of late, and it seems like Roman Reigns has a lot to do with this. Incredibly, they've cut back on the Tribal Chief's appearances on Smackdown so as to not overexpose him while maintaining a presence and giving the fans something to look forward to. This week was no different as Reigns arrogantly demanded Edge pick him as his WrestleMania opponent, not only because Reigns sees himself as the best of the best, but because he said so. Number 4, give Corbin some credit. A King Corb, a wrestler who has a well-earned reputation as one of the lightest workers in the industry, but one who seems capable of working with any style of opponent. While Corbin seems content in his role as a wrestler who hovers in the upper card with the ultimate goal of putting wrestlers over, the case can be made that he should be doing more. He's fantastic at playing an arrogant heel who the fans love to see get his comeuppance, and he's one of the WWE's most reliable hands. Even if Corbin doesn't get a sustained push, he's a wrestler who deserves more recognition. Number 5, a great triple threat. Smackdown featured another memorable match with Big E defending his IC Championship against Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn. Not only was this a chance for all 3 men to showcase their in-ring abilities, but it added some novelty to Big E's programs with Apollo Crews and former IC champion Sami Zayn. But that was the good. What about the bad? As number 1, Carmella still in the picture. If there's one thing the WWE knows how to do well, it's running storylines into the ground by continuing a program or feud far past its expiration date. While we won't be cheeky and say that the Carmella vs Sasha Banks program should have never begun, few fans would argue the program still has life left in it. Why they continue to feature Carmella as a featured player in the women's division is baffling. Having Carmella interject herself into Bianca Belair's pending decision over which women's champion she'll face at WrestleMania does nothing for Belair and could actually hurt her momentum if she gets involved in a side program with Carmella. Number 2, Hogan in the house. Who the hell requested this? Why was Hogan on Smackdown again? Although they wanted to hype the 33-year anniversary of Hogan battling Andre the Giant on NBC's primetime special The Main Event, not Saturday night's main event as Hogan has been tweeting, Hogan's appearance was out of the blue and Edge certainly didn't need the rub. That being said, if they wanted to have Hogan put Edge over, why not mention their reign as WWE Tag Team Champions? Oh, on a brighter note, at least he wasn't hyping his H phone. And number 3, too much teasing. Now normally we would cut the WWE some slack here and wait another week, but it looks like the promotion is going to drag out Edge's decision over who he plans on challenging at Mania. Now don't get us wrong, it's good that Edge has 3 terrific opponents to choose from, and while it seems ridiculous that Edge would ever choose to battle for the NXT Championship, an Edge vs Finn Balor match would be amazing, especially if Balor worked as the Demon. However, they should move ahead with Edge's choice soon, or fans are going to get bored, particularly since many fans already believe Edge will challenge Roman Reigns. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about this week's Smackdown, as it bounced back from a weak show the previous week and provided some great build-up for WrestleMania, with both Belair and Edge musing over who they'll face at this year's show of shows. Not to make too much of a finer point on it, but 2 hours will always trump 3 hours. But that was the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of SmackDown. Let us know what you thought of SmackDown in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the news. Now, our first story looks at Kiera Hogan taking a shot at Sasha Banks. Kiera Hogan is one half of Impact's Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and she apparently doesn't appreciate Sasha Banks, with fans pointing to the following tweet as Hogan calling out the boss. I'm gonna leave this here. Check my fit though. Often imitated, never duplicated. That's on period. You can't do it like me, boo. Hashtag hottest flame. Some fans accused Hogan of being insecure, but she's dismissed the comments. Do you think Banks has copied Hogan's style? Or is it the other way round? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Cesaro busted open. Fans tuning into the spectacular showdown between Daniel Bryan and Cesaro witnessed a magnificent match, but unfortunately it ended on a bad note as Cesaro was busted open during the match. It appears the Swiss cyborg was cut the hard way when Bryan dropped a boot on his head. There's no word on his condition, but we will keep you posted. Next up, Booker T versus Triple H. Booker T is teased stepping back into the ring one more time, and during his Hall of Fame podcast, the two-time Hall of Famer discussed who he'd like to wrestle and under what circumstances. If Booker T vs Triple H went down, it would have to be in Saudi Arabia because WWE are passing out big checks to wrestle there. For me to get in the ring, the situation would have to be right. I would want to get paid. Somebody might say I've wrestled at my place, and yeah, that's my place and my job to teach my students and show them how it's done sometimes. But yeah, I would love to have another match, if the situation's right with Triple H. At 55, it makes sense that Booker would want some hard cash before returning to action. But would you guys like to see King Booker battle wrestling's King of Kings? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Bobby Lashley talks potential additions to the Hurt Business. Current US champion Bobby Lashley has seen a career renaissance since founding the Hurt Business alongside MVP Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. However, what are the chances of a new member joining the group? Speaking with Chris Van Vliet, Lashley mentioned two good candidates. There's a lot of names that have been thrown out. Mickie James came back with our era, so Mickie James has that old Hurt Business style from before. You have Naomi, she has that whoop a girl up attitude also, and there's also a lot of people on the guys' side. There's a lot of guys out there that kind of had that thought. We always hear people come to us and say, hey man, I want to be part of the Hurt Business. Whether they're joking around or not, I think they're really serious. Adding a female wrestler to the Hurt Business could be a great way to give a superstar the rub, but Mickie James seems questionable as an in-ring performer considering her recent rash of injuries. Naomi, on the other hand, could be a great addition to the group and finally get back into the main event. Who should join the Hurt Business? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Matt Riddle versus the next Brock Lesnar. Last but not least, Matt Riddle has been vocal in his many social media messages involving Lesnar and Goldberg, so what does the Ultimate Bro think of WWE reportedly signing Brock Lesnar's lookalike Parker Boudreaux? Riddle tweeted, "He looks just like Brock Lesnar but younger and doesn't hate me enough to refuse a match with me yet. Awesome. It's probably going to be a while before Boudreaux steps in the ring, but it would be ironic to see a Riddle vs Boudreaux bout given Riddle's repeated request for a match against the Beast Incarnate." But there you have it guys, the good, the bad and the downright ugly from this week's SmackDown as well as the wildest wrestling news stories. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.